The Roman Catholic Basilica dominates the skyline of St. John's, much as the church itself has dominated the lives of two-thirds of the people of Newfoundland for 200 years. In one of the little kitchens of St. John's, Michael Butler prepared for the visit of the Pope.
One is the gold and white, the color of the papal flag, same color as the papal flag is in Rome. And I also cut out these little letters there, and then I got some glue, some paper glue, and glued them on, and formed that message, that little message: welcome, Pope John, we love you.
In a downtown office building, the Papal Planning Committee was also preparing.
Now, what about security clearance for those ushers that are involved in security?
There were 23 committees like this one. In all, there was an army of over 4,000 people involved in the planning and staging of the visit to Newfoundland. All summer long, the city has tolerated frequent security rehearsals. At this hospital, arrangements have been made for an entire wing to be set aside for the Pope and his party, just in case.
Well, I suppose you have to prepare for an assassination attempt on his life. In the case of some other incidents that have happened of this nature, a grandstand has broken down and people have been injured.
In Bond Bay, on the other side of the island, potters made chalices for the papal masses. Nearby, a stone cutter worked on Newfoundland stones for setting on a processional cross.
Well, as of now, I'm thrilled. The butterflies are beginning to drop. We still have headaches. Structurally, we're in place.
The main mass is to be held here at Quidi Lake in what amounts to a natural amphitheater. Organizers expected up to 250,000 people, or half the population of Newfoundland. But there's some indication that interest may not run that high. Take these kids building a fence to keep all those people away from the Pope. You'd think they'd be thrilled to be working on a project for such a rare and prominent visitor. But no way.
Well, you know, just a student trying to get some work for the summer, you know, it's just another job.
Is there much excitement about the Pope coming to town?
This building, but all I can say, you know.
It's okay, I guess.
Do you think there's much interest? Is there much excitement, the fact that he's coming to town?
Oh, sure. I mean, you know, especially with a lot of elderly people, too. I think it really means a lot to them because he's coming here.
The Pope is also going to visit this little fishing village of Flat Rock. Flat Rock finally got some new blacktop for its roads. Yet local people were surprisingly blasé about receiving such a distinguished visitor.
I know. I suppose the way everything goes, you can expect anything. That was years ago. The place we tore because the Pope would come, but now, sure, everything is happening now. So it's not a surprise anymore.
Flat Rock is well known in Newfoundland for its grotto, modeled after a famous one at Lourdes, where Bernadette saw a vision of the Virgin Mary. The Pope is coming here to deliver a special blessing for mariners, written just for the occasion by Newfoundlanders. Yet, once again, there was another sign of disinterest.
This is the altar where Pope John Paul will stand and do the blessing of the fleet. As you can see, it's a tremendous view of the whole cove. What the planners had in mind was to get 600 fishermen in their fishing boats and line them up single file out into the North Atlantic, but they ran into problems.
Fishermen had been having a bad year, and instead of 600, only 25 said they could come.
I say easy $30 or $40 for the gas. And $30 or $40 gas, it's about 8 trips out there for me, and I can make a few $100 each trip, right? So, economically, it's not feasible, right?
Still, organizers were hopeful that they would get at least 200. The organizers ran into still another problem when they considered collecting door to door to help offset their expenses. Protestants.
The first thing that occurred to me is if the leader of our denomination was coming to St. John's, we wouldn't expect the community to help us bear the cost of that particular visit. I'm not sure that it's really a very good idea.
The canvas was called off. Then there was publicity that the police planned to restrict traffic on the main roads into the city for security reasons. There was a shortage of places for people to sleep, so thousands would have to sleep in school gymnasia, all of which caused many people to stay home. But throughout it all, the planning committee felt interest would pick up.
6 months ago, it was a news item, and people said, well, it's coming, but it's like everything else, it's like your wedding. When you start to get closer to the date, the enthusiasm builds up. It's like any other festive occasion. It's like Christmas. Who thinks about Christmas the first week of November? But come the second week of December, the bug is beginning to catch on. This is what we sense now. He's such a fantastic human being, apart from his spiritual leadership and his world leadership, but as a human being, he's a fantastic person. The way he reaches out and touches people, and I think this is the experience of a lifetime, and all of us are really motivated more by that as well as supporting the church than anything else.
Meanwhile, back in Michael Butler's kitchen, we find he's written a poem.
We'll welcome you with open arms, with bunting, flags and more. How blessed we'll be that Pope John Paul has landed on our shore. We know his presence will enrich our water, land and sea, and lives of all who daily tread on the road to eternity. And so we patiently will wait for Pope John Paul to come. Let's pray for a glorious sunny day, blue sky and the smiling sun.
Well, some of the special flavor of Newfoundland coming through in that report by Rick Seward. Very little happens in Newfoundland without a debate about the pros and the cons, but there is a special flavor to the people here, and I hope that Pope, during his 20 hours in Newfoundland, has a chance to meet a good many Newfoundlanders. Certainly, the crowd here at Quidi Lake has continued to grow since early this morning. Rick Seward is among them. Rick, what's the atmosphere there?
Well, Larry, I hope you can hear me. There's an awful lot of noise here. We've got bagpipes booming out over what must be hundreds of loudspeakers all over the area. We've got helicopters overhead, and, of course, the murmur of the crowd. Basically, we seem to be getting a fairly large group of people here, considering the weather forecast for today, which, unfortunately, for Mr. Butler's prayer, he wanted fine weather. He's apparently getting mixed reviews on that. He's got, we've had a very warm and sunny morning, but the forecast for the rest of the day is for showers, and it's going to get worse as the day wears on. Apparently, we're headed for a mixture of fog, rain, wind, you name it. Really, really terrible weather. Larry?
Thank you very much, Rick, and we'll be checking in with you as the day goes by. The Mass isn't scheduled to begin here at Quidi until about 3:30 this afternoon. That is, if everything goes on schedule, and as you know, those of you who have been watching our continuing coverage of the papal visit, very little goes on schedule.
On his way to the airport this morning.
I am very happy that I can meet Pope and I can kiss his hand and that he talked to us, and it is very great in my life, some of the greatest things in my life.
You cannot explain it in words. It's incredible feeling. It's just such a warm and peaceful. Yes, I am happy.
It wasn't clear until 10 minutes before the Pope arrived whether or not he'd stop. The drama began several weeks ago. Would the Gdynia sail to Halifax or St. John's before crossing the Atlantic? In Toronto, the Polish consul told the captain to go to Halifax, but a formal order was not issued. Captain Wojtek Wierzbicki is a Catholic Pole. He wanted to get as close as possible to Pope John Paul, so he sailed the Gdynia to St. John's. Originally, the Gdynia was invited by Father Des McGraw to join the fishing fleet for the blessing at Flat Rock. But on Tuesday night, committee chairman Alec Henley told the captain the boat was not welcome at Flat Rock because the ceremony was only for Newfoundland fishing boats. The captain thought this reception was not very Christian.
I mean, that is man which answer me that is not Catholic, probably.
Finally, the captain decided to stay in the harbor and get as close as he could to the Pope during the Mass. The crew joined the Polish delegation yesterday for the service. This morning, their prayers were answered. Captain Wierzbicki presented the Pope with a T-shirt, a plaque of the boat, and a book. The Pope noted that the home of the ship, the Gdansk shipyard, was where Lech Walesa worked. He blessed the boat, and then each member of the crew kissed his hand. The Pope gave them rosaries.
I not dream never in my life that I'm be possible such near would be in near John Paul, because I'm only small one. People, he's a very, very good man, father of not only Catholics, father, but he's two very good men.
Now that the boat has been blessed, the crew is busy getting ready for the voyage across the ocean. If the winds are good, it should take 20 days. Then they sail back to Gdansk. For Here and Now, I'm Sally Southey.
Аппараты все. Показать.
Really.
Looking back at your plan now, is it fair to say that everything was quite adequate? You had the perfect plan in mind for the Pope's visit here to the province?
Yes, I think so. We did a lot of critiquing ourselves of the plan, and we'd move on to the next step, and always with the idea of trying to effect security, which would provide an opportunity for people to see the Pope, and I wouldn't change anything, no. I think it was well constructed and well executed.